Who the hell is this guy?
Lara, I've got no idea, but I think we should call Nick.
Nick? Who does this guy think he is? I have no idea, but he isn't the law.
I am the law! Hola amigos, it's Will here from Will's Custom Figures, coming at you today with a big bad breakdown of none other than Judge Dredd. So please guys, sit back and relax while I talk you through how and why I've made this one-of-a-kind legendary pop culture icon and all the details in between. Now, for anyone that's not aware, Judge Dredd's origins, he's from the legendary 2000 AD comics. He had a huge impact on pop culture. In 1985 and 1995, we've seen various different toy lines, and throughout the 2000s, also been multiple film adaptations of the character. In 1995 by Sylvester Stallone, and in 2012 by Carl Urban. My dad back in the day used to go to the barbers and he used to get his hair cut, and every time he'd go, he'd bring home another badass 2000 AD comic. So I grew up on this guy, drawing pictures, looking at the artwork, and he has a personal place in my heart. And here is Judge Dredd next to his arch nemesis, none other than Judge Death. Oh my god, I love this set together. The size, the intimidation, the badassery is definitely there in both of these figures. And credit to the original Marvel Legendary Heroes Judge Death figure. I think that came out around 2007, and it looks outstanding. And you can't do a review of an icon without having two other icons with him. Here is Big Boss, aka Metal Gear Solid's Solid Snake, and Tomb Raider's Lara Croft. Absolutely love this set. Three of my absolute wish list action figures where I started collecting, and I'm so happy that I've developed my customizing skills to the point where I can have these three in my collection. And I absolutely love this shot of Judge Dredd with Dum Dum Dugan and Nick Fury from The Shield. Could you imagine in an alternative universe where Judge Dredd joins these guys? Oh my god. In an alternative universe, if Blade, Bruce Willis from Die Hard, aka John McClane, and Judge Dredd team together, these three celebrities, these three cultural icons all together, and I love how they've turned out. Oh, and could you imagine this legendary showdown between RoboCop and Judge Dredd? This is the things that dreams are made of. And who cooler than Arnold Schwarzenegger to accompany Dredd here? As you can see, this is NECA's official release and one of my all-time favourite figures. I love the arm injury that's completely exposed on the forearm. And in another world, Judge Dredd and him have just had an absolute war. And here is none other than Jack Nicholson, aka Jack Torrance from The Shining, and Dredd's about to sentence him. And man, you cannot do a review without bringing in possibly the most badass female assassin in the entire Marvel universe, none other than Black Widow. And possibly my favourite Spider-Man in my entire collection, the Scarlet Spider, aka Ben Reilly. And now a little bit about the why. Why did I make this figure? Now, I felt some frustration, I'm not going to lie, with the current Judge Dredd figures that were out there. I felt they were a little bit outdated. They lacked a little bit of the articulation that I've grew accustomed to as a collector over the past, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And as well, they're quite pricey. If you want a good Judge Dredd figure, man, you are going to have to shell out the cash. In addition to that, I felt figures like this Judge Death, which came out by, I believe it was Marvel's Legendary Heroes in 2007. They did a phenomenal job. And look at the attention to detail. Look at the bones. Look at the dry brushing. Look at the sculpt on that face. He looks demonic. And I just didn't feel there was a matching Judge Dredd that ticked all of my boxes. Now, if I have a look at the Batman, if I have a look at Punisher, if I have a look at Spider-Man, if I have a look at Wolverine, there are multiple up-to-date modern 6-inch figures of these characters. But man, you can search everywhere and anywhere, and it's pretty hard to get your hands on a decent Judge Dredd.
Now, I had to bring in my custom Doom Duggan figure here if I'm going to talk about the how-to. How did I actually make this figure? Well, I've weighed up lots of different options during this process. I was having a look at this nice little Captain America torso here, and I will find some use for it, I have no doubt at all. But I decided to go with one very similar to this. I actually haven't got the US Agent Captain America body type that I use for this Judge Dredd anywhere, unfortunately, in my collection. So I've brought Doom Duggan over as a bit of a comparison. Now, I wanted to use Marvel Legends because I feel like Marvel Legends physiques have really good articulation. Also, you're not going to break the bank trying to buy them. It was very important to me. I didn't want to be spending as much money on a custom figure as it would cost me to maybe buy some of the releases. I believe Hot Toys and some of these other businesses have put them out there. And I skipped on those for a reason, because of the price point and because of some of the features that I didn't really like the articulation and like the outfits and stuff. I wanted something that would meet my mind's eye of what a Judge Dredd action figure should be about. And here we go, a nice little school photo time, guys. And nope, Judge Dredd is not smiling. This always takes me back to the Judge Dredd film with Sylvester Stallone. I am the law. Absolutely brilliant. But looking at these comic books over the years and all the artwork that's inspired me, all the action figures are out there. You couldn't get a better head sculpt than this one. And I believe this was Daisho Creations on Etsy. I've mentioned that a few times throughout this video. Huge amount of credit there. And this shoulder piece, oh, I know it's been 3D printed. Look at the detail. Look at the amount of love and passion that's went into that. Really happy with that. Now, it doesn't actually come with a chain. That is a separate chain. My partner has a chain on one of her necklaces. This little bit just magically broke off, so I decided to use that. But you can see my choice to use this as a base, some of the reasons for it. It's got the nice little neck collar that goes up there. The head fits on there perfectly, so it still articulates up and down. There isn't so much backwards, unfortunately. I can't articulate it too much up to look at the sky, but it does still have movement around the torso and the waist. Now, of course, this arm will be restricted when lifting the arm up to the sides because it's going to hit that. But this arm, you can come right out. You can have Mega City 1's #1 judge taking down all the bad guys. Now, let's continue about the customization process here. Putting on the head sculpt, making sure that was attached. I've popped some milliput and blue tack in there just to hold it in place. I've actually glued this shoulder pad down. I didn't want it to be able to come off over time, and I've also glued the chain. Now, the rest of this sculpt here on the arms, this is all Marvel Legends. I've actually used a beautiful gunmetal blue on top of a completely black paint job. So I've covered the whole thing top to bottom in black paint. And then I've used this very similar to my Grim Reaper video. If any of you guys have seen that, I used an Undertaker, repainted it. I've then just dry brushed the beautiful gunmetal blue over the whole thing just to try and get those lovely textures on there. You can actually see some of the original paintwork wearing away there from where I've been moving him and articulating him. Now, I'm loving all the details that Marvel put in on this figure. They've put in these belt buckles. They've put in some really cool gloves and gauntlets on the front here. But there were key parts missing for Judge Dredd, which were absolutely essential to getting on there. One of them was the belt buckle, the US flag being on there. And yeah, I've used milliput clay to craft this lovely looking eagle here. I hope you can appreciate the time and patience there that I've put into doing it. And then a nice paint job on top. In addition, I've used milliput clay to create these really badass looking elbow pads here. If I give them a spin round, these are the original Marvel Legends boots. I've also added those on, iconic knee pads that Dredd would always wear. And it comes with a nice little nifty gun in the holster here, which I really like. This is a Marvel Legends gun. Absolutely loved it. Don't ask me whose it was. I can't remember. But yeah, pulled this out of the old fodder drawer, and I'm really happy that I kept this one. It looks chunky, it looks mean, it looks like he can press the buttons on the side and do different things with it. If you said cheese to Judge Dredd and ask him to smile, man, there is not a smile in that man's body. I love this, and it really does personify and capture everything about Judge Dredd that I loved as a child. And look at them two together, good old Judge Dredd and Judge Death, getting ready for a nice school photo, of course. Judge Death doing what he should be, and with a big cheesy grin there. There's no smiling for Judge Dredd, I'm afraid, though, guys. And finally, in my how-to section, I just wanted to touch on the paints that I've used. I've actually used Vallejo paints for the entire body, top to bottom, apart from the skin colour on the face and the neck. where I used Citadel paints. I've done a lot of weathering. I've used a Goblin green paint on all of the green here. Really, really happy, and several washes of darker and lighter greens on top of it, really just to bring those out. And of course, making sure the original bout was customized at the front, but then also painted to match as well. I'm extremely happy with how this has turned out. The dry brushing, I think, is key to bringing this figure alive. And here we go, guys, bringing this video to a close. Now, my final reflections. The Hiya Toys Dredd was not my Judge Dredd. I felt it was really challenging, super rewarding, and do you know what? I've immortalised a legend for me. This is the perfect version of Judge Dredd, in my opinion. My main motivation by doing this figure was a desire to embody the 2000 AD absolutely legendary character for all time in my collection. To me, it is a tribute of nostalgia and creativity, and it's also a tribute to my dad, who was a huge Judge Dredd 2000 AD collector, and I'm so happy with the final result.
3, 2, 1.
For me to take it from great to absolute perfection, having a couple of different multiple exchangeable heads, as well as the comic accurate elbow pads and knee pads, that would have took it over the edge for me. So I'm giving this bad boy a 9 out of 10. Now, what is next for this channel? Man, I have some exciting projects to work on. One of them is another 2000 AD alumni. Is going to be the ABC Warrior. And as you can see, I'm using the Justice Buster by McFarlane to create him. In addition, I've got some other absolutely phenomenal custom figures coming up. I have Sylvester Stallone, aka Rambo. I've got Medusa, the Goblin Queen, Fred Durst, Slipknot. I can't do a Judge Dredd without having the other Judge Dredd bad guys. I'm going to do Judge Fear, Judge Mortis, and a bunch of other fantastic custom figures in between. Give me a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of this video. Please follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and of course here on YouTube. From myself, from Judge Dredd, it's been a pleasure. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Adios.